Graham, we're here.
That's right.
We're here.
That's right, baby. That's right.
Yeah. So just win. Just win is about unlocking the mental power.
That's right.
Just win is here to educate, equip, and excel the mental mindset. And I'm so excited to partner with you and co-author, write together our first ebook.
Yeah.
And it's an ebook series that is around how to win in 10 minutes.
Ooh.
So I'm excited to have you here, Graham, and I want people to know who you are. I think this is very important to share. This is Graham Betchart, and Graham is a mental performance coach for the best in the world, the one percenters, people under pressure. So, Graham, welcome, and we would like to know about you, Graham.
Man, I appreciate it, Chris. Just being present with you here today. This is everything. Us working together. We've been working on this for quite some time. And like you said, I'm a mental performance coach. I've been doing this for about 20 years now. For about 20 years.
That's how I feel.
I find myself with the Sacramento Kings now as their mental performance coach, my first season with the team. Before that, I was with the Utah Jazz for a couple years. And before that, I've just been working with players.
Right.
So
who are some of those players?
Well, I started working with Aaron Gordon when he was 11 years old. Jaylen Brown was 15 years old. Zach LaVine was about 18 years old. So
Ben Simmons also.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, he was 16 years old. So I've had Miles Turner, I've had a chance to work with a lot of players. And what I've noticed is there's a certain kind of human being that has an open mind, and they're looking for something more. They know they have physical talent, but they've always been looking for something more. And that's right where I come in, right in that mental space, to teach, to work on being present, to help them focus on what's important now, right? To narrow your focus to only what you can control.
I've noticed, Graham, since you have been the mental performance coach with the Sacramento Kings, I've noticed this year they're playing unbelievable. I mean, they're in the playoff race, and they're a team that you have to deal with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of that, has to do with the coaching, obviously, the culture, but you being there with being their mental performance coach is going to have an impact on those players. And that's why you and I have come together to collaborate, to build a curriculum that can excel these athletes from being young all the way to being professionals.
That's right. They need a process. Mental training is like physical training, Chris. You know this.
Yes.
You just need a process, something you can go to every day, and it starts with a language. And that's what we did putting our books together is we put a language together for people to make it simple for them. And it's the same stuff I've been teaching the Kings. It's the same stuff I've been teaching for 20 years. We just put it together in a way that makes sense for people.
Absolutely. Graham, a lot of people, when they see me, they only see me working in a performance part of dealing with developing basketball players. But 20 years ago, I got my master's.
Yeah.
And I got my master's in counseling. I actually got my license. I got everything that had to do with developing people. And now, 20 years later, you and I are together to begin this journey.
That's right.
And this journey is to impact and to help people unlock the mental power that they have within them so that they can become who they need to become.
That's right.
Our first ebook out of our series is What is Important Now?
That's right.
How do we get to that?
Just you talking about a process and people needing a process. The very first step when you think about what's important now, right? Think about the word win, W-I-N. That's what we're making a play off of, right? What's important now is based on that word. But so many people, when they see that word win, Chris, their mind goes to things they can't control. It goes to all these things outside of their control. And what we're doing is we're bringing it back to actually what's important now, what's in your control.
That's amazing because when you and I was working on this 10 ebook series, we looked at 10 minutes to win. And what really stood out to me is that we live in a society that people don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And, social media is a great platform to be able to make money and to be able to push, your knowledge out there quicker. And so when you and I looked at 10 minutes to win, we looked at really maximizing and putting together a formula that we can help people within 10 minutes of their day learn how to win.
That's right.
And win to me and you means what is important now.
That's it. We simplify it. And when we made this book 10 minutes, that to make it that simple is going to make it that impactful.
Right.
When something is that simple, so bite-sized, you can digest it and then you can start practicing this. Everything we're teaching is something you have to practice every day.
Right.
We're just helping them become aware, and we can do it in 10 minutes. We can help you figure out what's important now in 10 minutes.
Also something that really stood out to me is that we really focus on our series being around people that are under pressure.
Yeah.
So that that our ebooks and our institution that we're putting together for Just Win is not just designed for athletes.
Right.
It's designed for people that are under pressure, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a business owner, arts and craft. If you're in the music industry, you should pick up this ebook series and you should dive in it and give us 10 minutes and we'll teach you how to win.
That's right. It's for anyone that feels pressure. And essentially, that's all human beings, right? No matter what situation, we all feel it. And if you want to learn how to thrive under pressure, right? And let's say you have results on the line, right? Which we all do. That's why we built this.
Right.
What I noticed, Chris, is most people just didn't have a process. They want to learn how to perform under pressure. They just don't have a process to do it. And that's why we created this, is to give people an actual pathway to follow.
Right. I know something that really stood out to me, and I do it on a daily basis. So being a coach, a teacher, a trainer, a rabbi, whatever the title is, right? You learn to connect with people. You cannot help or assist anyone without unlocking the mental power.
That's right.
The mental mindset is the complete separator. It separates you. Mm-hmm. If you can stay present and stay in the moment,
that's right.
We call it Wi-Fi.
That's right.
Stay where your feet are.
That's right.
You have more of a chance to being the best version of yourself.
That's right.
And when I look at people under pressure, I look at how they respond. And I look at how do they pivot away from when things don't go right, because nothing in life is going to go right. So we have to have the right mental skills.
That's right.
Mental assessments, step by step, to help you. And if we can reach them when they're young,
that's right,
we can help them unlock some mental power.
That's exactly it. I mean, the sooner you can start working on this, the sooner you become aware, then you can start practicing this stuff. And think about where your feet are, right? We practice that right now. Me and you are practicing that right now,
right? Being
where our feet are. And so often in life, people aren't where their feet are. They're somewhere else. They're living in the past. They're living in fear about the future. And we got to bring them back to the present, because if you're not present, you're playing yourself.
Right.
You know?
So, Graham, when you let's dive in a little deeper on that, right? So we use the terminology Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And it's just where your feet are. Be where your feet are, right? Let's use some examples that you've learned or you've seen in the people that you're coaching every day, how someone is not present.
Yeah.
But they're there.
Yeah.
But they're not present.
I mean, let's just think about the Sacramento Kings. So the last 16 years, Sacramento Kings haven't made the playoffs.
Right.
So that's this big thing that's out there. And right now, everyone wants to make the playoffs. And that's somewhere in the future. And so what we do is we constantly bring our focus back to where our feet are so we don't fall for that trap. Because if our mind is thinking about, oh, we got to be in the playoffs, we got to be there, that has nothing to do with what's happening right now. So we have to discipline ourselves, Chris, to come back to where our feet are and practice doing that every day.
Wow. So when we look at certain things, Graham, we think of like words that allow people to connect,
Yeah.
words that allow people to refocus. You know, this is for some of you guys that are coaches out there, for people that are CEOs that are leading people. You have to have something in place that gets you to the next play.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a terminology that we use for
Yeah.
that.
We call that next play speed.
It's next play speed.
And that's how fast can I come back to the present when I lose my focus. So being present, me and you talking about it, that makes sense almost immediately to people.
Right away.
To actually do that, that takes some practice, right? To actually be where your feet are. And a lot of times your mind's going to drift. It's going to go someplace else. So next play speed is how fast can I come back to where my feet are? You know,
Wow.
Can I bring it back? Can I come back? And this is the grittiness, the resiliency. You keep bouncing back to the present no matter what.
You know, next play speed is going to be something that is so important, right, for athletes. So when I'm dealing with athletes and I'm helping the 1%, you cannot focus on what happened
Yeah. Yeah.
one play ago.
Yeah.
You have to stay in the moment and you have to get back there quick.
That's right.
So failure is going to happen, but it's how you handle failure.
That's right.
That next play speed
That's it.
is lethal.
It's how you respond to making mistakes. Everyone's going to make a mistake. Stuff happens. So if you're a leader, CEO, and you have that ability to bounce back, now you're empowering your whole team. And they're watching you bounce back. And now you got the language of next play speed, and you're like, this is something we practice is bouncing back. You know, Chris, that was the first thing I taught Aaron Gordon when he was 11 years old. We did an exercise where I knew he was going to make a mistake, and all we were working on was how fast could he come back. And first he made the mistake and he lost his mind. And I said, what we're really working on here, young man, is can you come back? And he said, are we practicing making mistakes? And I said, yes, we are, because you don't practice making mistakes well, right? Something goes wrong and you bail from the present. And then so next play speed started to connect with him. And he started to practice that at 11, 12, 13 years old. So you see him at 27 years old, you see someone who's been doing this work for quite some time. He moves forward almost instantaneously when he plays.
Right. And you know, as a coach, you know, I can go back and give you an example myself, even coaching. Most coaches coach backwards. So they only respond to what had happened then.
Right.
So maybe they make a sub. Hey, get out. Get him out. And as he's coming out, hey, you missed a block out.
Right.
So most great coaches coach forward, next play speed.
That's right.
So when they come into the timeout, they're not focused on what happened, the play before the timeout. They're focused on strategizing on what's coming out of the timeout.
That's right.
And this is how you can really dominate other coaches.
That's right.
Me and my team, we used to sit down when a coach called a timeout, and in our timeout, we would just observe the other team. So the coach is now down there yelling, could be cursing. He's wasted a whole minute.
Yeah.
And I used them as an example to teach my team next play speed. And so I realized that if you just watch, when he came out of the timeout, he didn't even get his message across that was going to happen next.
Wow.
So we was able to get an easy basket, set up a press, make him call another timeout, and he's still coaching backwards.
Man, there's no doubt the teams with the fastest next play speed, they win a whole lot more.
They do.
The companies, the leaders that are able to bounce back to the present, they thrive. They do a whole lot better. You're always going to face adversity. That's part of the game. But it's how do you respond to it? And that's what's so great about Just Win is we're creating the ability to unlock that. I see a lot of people, they get stuck, Chris. Something just happened, right, and they get stuck, and they're still in the past. And then you start learning about next play speed, and you're like, oh, I can move forward. I didn't even know that was a thing. And now you're starting to praise next play speed. Now it's a part of your culture. Now when we make mistakes, we just move forward quick, and it's no big deal. And then all of a sudden, a lot of success comes your way, not because you were perfect,
Right.
but because you knew how to bounce back really well.
Man, that's why I have so much passion, Graham, for leaving an impact on people. When people come to our training center to train, I'm training the mind.
Yeah.
So if you want to know my secrets out there, we're training the mind. We're unlocking the mental power.
That's right.
Having a skill set is one thing, but the mental mindset is the most powerful thing that you can have.
That's right.
And we've created something that allows for next play speed to really happen. And we call this MVP. And our MVP is meditation,
That's right.
visualization,
That's right.
and positive self-talk.
You know, those three things, those are three of the most powerful mental skills I've ever seen. And we just put it together in one little technique. And we call it an MVP because everyone wants to be an MVP.
Everybody wants
Come
to
on.
be the MVP.
But what we've done, just flipped it a little bit. So we say, hey, let's go get our MVP in. Let's get a little meditation in. Let's visualize. Let's say some powerful self-talk. I mean, Chris, I was just doing this with players from the Kings before we walked up in here.
That's just amazing.
Just getting them locked in.
Just getting them locked in.
Getting them locked in.
When we look at the first part of MVP and we talk about meditation, I know some people don't understand how to meditate.
Yeah.
And they also look at meditation as some way where you can meditate in any place at any time.
That's right.
It's just about being quiet.
That's right. And when we say meditation, we're just saying just find your breath, right? Just find your breath. And you know your breath is happening right now. So right away when you find your breath, it just kind of helps you get a little bit more present because
Right.
you're tuned into it. And I think for a lot of people, they think they have to clear their mind. And so they'll say something to me like, oh, Graham, I'm not very good at meditating. And I'll say, it's okay if you got a bunch of thoughts in your mind. Just be there in the present with that as well.
Absolutely.
And so you learn that like we all can meditate. It's not even that hard. We just need a little practice and someone to guide us.
But it starts with your breathing.
That's exactly right.
You know, and one thing that I've learned, because I do yoga, I do hot yoga very frequently, try to 5 to 7 sessions a week,
Yeah.
right? Breathing through your nose, slowing down your breathing, and blowing out of your mouth actually sends to your body fight or flight. So imagine being in a big game and you're,
Right.
it's actually telling your body, hey, something's going on.
Wow.
But when you breathe through your nose and you release through your nose,
That's right.
it tells your body everything is okay.
It's funny, I never really know when I'm teaching someone what's going to click for them. And breathing really clicked for Jaylen Brown. Like it really clicked for him. And he started playing in the Eastern Conference Finals pretty quick in the NBA. He was at a pretty high level.
Oh, absolutely.
And we would check in, and he was like, Graham, most people think you're like, you have to get up for a game. He was like, no, you need to relax and come down. And he goes, I do that all with my breath, all with the breathing we were working on when I was a teenager. And so these skills in those big moments when the pressure is really there, and you can find your breath and you can breathe through your nose, man, everything, you just get centered, you come back to the present, and your breath gives you that tool. Honestly, when you want to leave the present, when stuff is, it can be scary, right? Your breath helps you stay with it.
It helps bring down that testosterone.
That's right.
And being in a skill sport of basketball, if your testosterone is too high, it takes away from your execution.
Yeah.
Because shooting is a skill. So you have to control that.
Yeah.
We look at the next part of MV, which is visualization.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm a big visualizer. I see things before they happen. It's just it's a gift.
Yeah.
How important is visualizing?
I mean, this might be one of the most important things you do. This is creating the vision for your life. I mean, Chris, you're an architect for your own life. And when you visualize, you start to design your own life. And if you can see it, you can be it. So the start is putting those pictures in your mind of what you want to do, where you want to go. That's how powerful visualization is. And then as you start to practice more, you can start to visualize working through challenges. Say you're stuck. Say you're like, I'm never able to do this move, or whatever it is, go through in your mind and see yourself being successful. And then all of a sudden you've created a pathway. Then you come back into the real world and you're like, I've done this before. And it gives you that extra confidence, that extra boost. It's like you've already done it. So you can get reps in your mind that really produce well in the world.
Those mental reps are so important.
Oh, they really are.
They are. I mean, I'm telling you, mental reps are so important.
It's real.
It's real.
It's really
and if we tap in, I'm very lucky, without mentioning too many people's names, but just to be around the 1%. And when I say 1%, I'm talking about people that have truly mastered their craft. Like they tapped in, and they know who I'm talking about, that 1%. That mental rep is so important. So even when your body's tired, you can show up mentally.
That's right.
You don't have to check out.
No.
You can check in.
You check in. You check in the present.
You check in.
And now you're working your mental skills. You're like, okay, let me do an MVP. Let me breathe a little bit. Let me visualize a little bit. And now you're working the skills.
Into that next part, which is we call positive self-talk.
That's right.
Now, Graham, when I think about positive self-talk, because we hear negative talk.
Yeah.
Positive self-talk is an affirmation.
That's right.
It's you speaking over your life.
That's right.
And it is so important to speak positive.
That's right.
About yourself. And when you follow the MVP, the ingredients are there.
It puts you right into the place where you go, if I follow these steps, I'm getting myself into the right mindset. And we're all having a conversation in our head all the time. That's part of the human experience. All we're doing with positive self-talk is we're starting to become aware of that, and now we're going to make statements and affirmations that are helping us instead of hurting us. And that takes practice, because maybe you've had an affirmation that maybe it's been a little bit negative, and you're working on flipping it. For example, maybe you say, I don't trust my skills after I make a mistake. Maybe that's a little something. But you flip that and you say, I trust my skills every play. That's a way more powerful affirmation. And as you say that to yourself over and over again, it'll start to direct you in the moment so you do trust your skills every play.
Absolutely. So, Graham, as we, kind of wrap the first part of talking about what's important now, we wanted to do something that was a little different when it comes to ebooks, because we want to maximize people time.
Yeah.
And that's how we got the 10 minutes to win.
That's right.
We also provided assessments. So not only do we give you step-by-step ingredients that you can practice from being all ages, CEOs, athletes, actors, musicians, teachers, lawyers, it doesn't matter your title. You all will need to understand what is important now.
That's right.
And our assessment piece is what really separates us. And what we wanted to do is be able to assess and measure the mental game.
That's right. That's right.
There's not any real data that is out there that helps with assessing. So we're creating the first part of curriculum that is 2023 that can assess mental brain.
That's right. And that's the most important part, is that awareness, right? So let's say you're going through your day, and our first concept, right, our first book, What's Important Now. Now you're going through and you're assessing, how am I doing focusing on what's in my control? How am I doing? Am I focused on the stuff that's out of my control? And then you'd be assessing yourself as not doing very well. Or are you like, hey, I'm focused on the task at hand. I'm focused only on what's right here, and I'm putting all my energy into that. And as the assessments, what they do is help you become more aware. And your awareness activates your ability, right? This is what unlocks you. This is what unlocks you. Because without the awareness, you can't unlock yourself.
You can't unlock it.
You can't unlock yourself.
So we got to have some type of measure.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that I really enjoy about what we put into our ebook series is we really want to measure.
That's right.
And we want to figure out how we can grow, because the brain is a muscle.
That's right.
Man, listen, just win.
Just win, baby. Let's go.
Unlock the mental power. We're here. And we're here for anyone that's under pressure.
That's right.
Whether that's CEOs, athletes, actors, doesn't matter your title. Come and work with us here at Just Win.
Let's go.
We want to be your mental performance coaches.
That's right. Come join us.
We out.